Hello, family. I'm back with you guys while we doing this quarantine. I wanted to come check on y'all, see what's going on. I know y'all in the house bored as hell. So I thought I'd hit you guys with another one of my Black Celebrity Love series readings. And today I am going to be reading on Ermias Ascadome and the beautiful Lauren London. I was not a Nipsey fan before his passing. I actually was dating someone about a year before he passed who was heavily into his music. And so I ended up getting into him just maybe like not even a few months before he passed. But I have not been an avid Nip fan. So I really don't know much about him. Or neither was I a Lauren London fan. So I really didn't know much about her either. I had heard that they were dating. Of course, you hear stuff, and it was well known in the industry that they were dating. So I was aware that they were together, but individually, I didn't know too much about them or collectively. But he seems to have impacted a lot of people since his passing. And I actually did a reading on him before on my other channel that I can no longer access. But I've never done a reading on the two of them collectively as a couple. So that is what I'm going to do today. And you guys know how I roll. So whatever comes through, comes through. And I will give you guys the messages as they come. This may also be a part 1 and a part 2. I'm going to drop both parts today. I'm not sure where the video for part 1 may leave off. So if I leave any cliffhangers, I'll make a part 2. Now let's go ahead and get into this reading. First energy I'm going to tap into is Lauren's. She's still grieving, you guys, grieving very much so. She is a grieving woman. Okay. Now she's a strong woman, so she will never allow his death to stagnate her. She would never allow his death to make her into a shell of her former self. It's been really hard for her, but she's really working on getting back to herself because she lost herself after his death. These two individuals were fated to be together. They were almost giving me the energy of twin flames. They were very in sync with one another, and there was a meeting of the minds with these two. She's also telling me that even though he was sexy, his intelligence is what really made me fall for him and what made him sexy to me. And vice versa with Nip as well. Now with Nip, he's also more into looks, okay? You're talking about a street dude. So he not gonna just mess with anybody, but usually he is attracted to a woman for her looks and her beauty, but he's telling me that with Lauren, this was different. So this was not just a physical thing. It was more of a mental thing. And he's also saying that she turned me on mentally more than she ever could have physically. So this was definitely a mental thing. Now, Lauren is also telling me that she gets off on guys who possess a certain amount of power in them. She also gets off on guys who possess a certain amount of thug in them. She likes bad boys, y'all. And I'm not talking about the guys who might skip lunch or play hooky. I'm talking about she really likes bad boys. Guys who are into the streets and who come from the hood. That's her type. But she also is into intellect and intelligence as well. And this is also something that brought her and Wayne together because, believe it or not, Wayne is extremely and highly intelligent, okay? So when he and Lauren were messing around, it was also a meeting of the minds as well. Now, with this relationship with Lauren and Nip, this relationship started off very simple. Now, some celebrity couples you see, they live a lavish lifestyle. And with this couple, it was more like I'm cool just chilling at home with you. They were very low key and a very private couple. Now, Lauren is naturally a private person, and so is Nip. So this was something that they understood and they respected about each other. So he never pushed her to be in the limelight, and he never pushed their relationship to be in the limelight. And he's not the type of guy that's going to go spilling all his tea talking about his business. Now, Lauren is also like that as well. She's not the type that's going to go spilling all her business. She's very low key and private. But with Nip, she wanted to be more public. So you guys may remember in the beginning of their relationship, we didn't really see them too much. They weren't popping out like that. Nobody really knew they were dating because they were very, very low key. Now, when things got serious between the two of them, Lauren started pushing for the relationship to be more public, because Nip wasn't really with all of the publicity, because also Nip was selling drugs before his music career. And even though he let go of the illegalities of that lifestyle, he wasn't selling drugs no more once his music popped off. He wasn't doing certain things. He wasn't, even though he was still a Crip, and he's saying to me, I'm gonna be a Crip to forever. It's in my soul. It's a part of me. Even though he was a Crip and that was a part of his lifestyle, he says that he elevated that. So he's telling me, like, even though I was a Crip and okay, let me clarify, you guys. He's saying that the Crip that I was before, I became enlightened, because he's telling me that when he was younger, he was reckless. He was running around. He said, I was a reckless young nigga. You know, that's how the streets are. And unless you have a strong mind and you know how to basically reconstruct your mind. And he's using the word reconstruct because he's saying that he had to reconstruct his mentality. He's saying that the way he grew up had him thinking that in order to be a Crip, you had to die by your hood. You had to live by it. You had to stand by that. He said at one point in his life, he ate, slept, and breathed being a Crip and a part of his hood. But he's also saying that he came into a period of enlightenment. And he's making me feel like this was not too long before his passing. He's saying that his whole mentality was changing, the way that he was thinking, the way that he was eating, the way that he was living. He also says that he wasn't smoking as much. He was still smoking, but he was marijuana. He was still smoking marijuana, but he was also trying to pull back from that a little bit because he wanted a clear and a clean mind and body. He was studying up on Dr. Sebi's teachings. So he really took heart to the things that he learned by researching Dr. Sebi. And he's saying that before he passed, he totally became aware of being clean from the outside, from the inside out. He's saying that energy and those types of things became very important to him. And he's also saying that he began to cut off a lot of people as well. Now, getting back to him and Lauren's relationship, she is a very hard person to crack, meaning that she doesn't trust easily. And Nip is also the same way. Okay. So for them to come together and to let their guard down was really, it was their thing. Okay. It was their thing. And it was something that mentally they both understood. It was kind of like understanding without having to speak. So getting back to Nip's energy towards Lauren London, he pursued her aggressively. He was attracted to her prior to even meeting her. And I also feel like this meeting between the two of them was orchestrated. So kind of like maybe a friend or a family member set them up, set the initial wheels in motion, and then kind of like, girl, he trying to talk to you. You know, you need to go check him out, see what he's talking about. It's almost as if he knew somebody. They had a mutual friend, and this mutual friend kind of set the wheels in motion for them to meet and start to go on their first date. Okay. Now, she's also tapping into Lauren's energy. She's also telling me that she's a picky dater. So she doesn't just date anybody. She's very picky, very hard to very hard girl to crack emotionally. Now, she is an emotional person about the people that she cares about, and she cares about all people. She's a very laid back, love and light type of person, but she's also a very, that ain't got nothing to do with me, that ain't none of my business type of woman. So she's very picky about who she dates, and she also gets turned off very easily. She's telling me she gets turned off very easily. She's telling me that she lived in a middle class neighborhood growing up. She didn't have everything in the world, but she didn't really want for too much, okay? She didn't come from extreme poverty. Her mother really went out of her way to make sure that she was taken care of, and she's an only child as well. So her acting career actually came from loneliness, not having any siblings, not having anyone to engage with. So she is the type of woman who likes a man to lead her. She's very submissive. I've been tapping into a lot of women in these readings I've been doing who are very submissive to their men. And she's another one. She's very submissive to her man. But don't get me wrong, she's also a firecracker of a woman. So she has two sides to her almost. And she's a Sag as well. But yeah, she has two sides to her. So she can be very sweet and very charming and very flirtatious and just very love, light, and peace. And then she can also turn up and get very ghetto, okay? She has that side to her as well. Nip is also the same. Very laid back, very goofy, funny, playful type of guy. She's also telling me that he's very spontaneous. Like he's the type of guy that for no reason at all would just get up in the morning and want to go on a date. Just very spontaneous, very playful. But she also is telling me that he had another side to him. Because she's also making me feel like this all money in was ran like an organization. She's going piggybacking off of what Nip was saying. So she's saying that even though he wasn't running drugs and he wasn't doing the things that he had previously done in the streets, he took the things that he learned from the streets, the things that he had learned from hustling and selling dope, and he took that to the music world and he treated it like a hustle. So he elevated it. Okay. And the guys that he grew up with and he brought with him on this journey, he ran this record label like an organization. So it was kind of ran like a street gang, but it was just legal. So he was like, I put my niggas on and we were still, we just applied our street knowledge to this music hustle. So he calls it a hustle, pun intended. So, and Lauren was treated and is still treated like the first lady of this organization, because I feel like this was literally ran like an organization with Nip being like the CEO or the president or the OG or the head nigga in charge. So, and then he had right-hand men who were like the lieutenant. This is the captain. This is the bodyguard. So everybody had a position to play in this organization. And that is how it stays running like a well-oiled machine, even after his passing, because Nip was very strategic and also he was a thinker. So he always thought ahead and planned for things. He had things in place in case anything ever happened to him. Because he's making me feel like he's saying death could have hit me at any time. Like the type of lifestyle that I was living, death could have hit me at any time. And he's also acknowledging that he let his guard down. He's saying, I let my guard down and I was caught slipping, because he's making me feel like his death within itself was a setup. It was a setup. He's saying that this was not a coincidence. Someone inside of my team, he's saying someone that he trusted, someone that he kind of brought along into his circle and his world. This is somebody that he grew up with as well. So this is somebody that has known him since he was a youngin'. And he's saying that this person set him up. They tipped it off, Eric Holder, and let him know that he would be there at this specific time. But also he's saying that this was done sloppy, because he's saying that contrary to what people may think, and people were saying that this was planned and this was something that was well planned. This wasn't planned actually at all, you guys. He was not even supposed to be at his store that day. He wasn't even supposed to be there, you guys. And Lauren is also telling me that him leaving the house that day was sudden. She said it was sudden. It came out of nowhere. Someone called him. She said someone made a phone call to him and told him that they wanted to meet him at the store. Someone made a phone call to him, someone that he trusted, someone that he was cool with, someone that knew his schedule, knew his movements, someone who had knowledge of when he would be home, when he would be busy, when he would be free. Understood? They called him and kind of guided him and got him to come to the store. He was not supposed to be there. And he's the type of friend that if you call him and you need something, if you're in need, if you whatever the situation is, if it's dire enough for him to get up out of his bed and come to you, he's going to do that. Very loyal friend, okay? So whoever this person was, they knew exactly what to say to get him out of the house, because Lauren is making me feel like she was sick on this particular day. Like she's saying she hadn't been feeling well. She had like a head cold or something. So she's saying I wasn't feeling well and I didn't really want to be bothered with the kids. So he was kind of sticking close to home to make sure everything was copacetic. So whoever made this phone call that kind of set in motion the setup, they knew that Lauren was sick. They knew that he would be home catering to her and taking care of her. Okay. And I also feel like this person, he spoke with via text as well, letting them know that he was going to be chilling in the crib because Lauren was sick. So this person knew that he was going to be in the crib with his girl and that getting him out the house, and they knew he would have a free schedule, basically, because Nipsey was always on the go. He was always doing this, doing that, taking meetings, but he was very attentive to his family, very attentive to his girl, okay? So if something was wrong, if she was sick, if she needed him, if she called him, if she was uncomfortable, he was coming, period. Now, this person knew that. And they also knew that he was catering to her on this particular day and she wasn't feeling too well. They knew what to say to get him to come up to this store. Now, when they got here, this person made a phone call to Eric Holder and let him know that Nipsey would be at this particular store. They let him know that Nipsey was up there. It's kind of like he's here right now. You got to move right now. You got to come do this right now. Now, also, Nip always traveled with bodyguards. He's telling me I always had my niggas around me and they were shooters. He's saying these are dudes that would have been shooting with no questions asked. But on this particular day, his main shooters were not there. And this person who set this setup in motion, they knew that his main shooters were not in the vicinity. Because he also he wasn't expecting to be there on this particular day. So it's almost as if he giving his team the day off. Like, I'm going to chill in the house with Lo today. Y'all go ahead and do what y'all do, okay? So he didn't have when he went up to the store, it was almost as if it was in a rush. Like, I'm going to go handle this and I'm coming right back to the crib. So it was almost as if it was in a rush. He was not expecting to be there no longer than an hour tops. No longer than an hour tops. Now, he was the type of person that he would engage you. So if a fan stops and says, hey, I want to take a picture, or hey, can you give me an autograph? He's the type to do that. But an hour tops is what he was expecting to be. It's how long he was expecting to be gone from his home that day. So he kind of left out in a rush. And he's usually also the type that would have had a weapon on him. He says, I always kept some type of weapon or gun around me or on me. So whoever this person is knew that he would be unarmed. And they also knew that he would not have bodyguards or main shooters or security around him, because he's also telling me that he had people. Like, even with Lauren, he says, I didn't let her move without having a bodyguard with her, without having a protector with her. So he always was paranoid of someone trying him or doing something to him. But he did not think that this person or anybody would be bold enough to do it so sloppily. Okay. and this was done very sloppy. It was unplanned. But whoever, because Eric Holder is not the shooter. He's the one who pulled the trigger, but he is not the one who gave the okay to do this, okay? There was someone else who gave the okay for Eric Holder to pull this trigger, and he was just a puppet, okay? He was just a hitman. He was just a puppet, pretty much. And so he just felt like this was done sloppy, but they also felt like whoever the big man is who gave the signal for this to be done, he felt like this is the only time that they, you don't catch Nip slipping too much. He always had security with him. He always was around his homeboys, his niggas, his day ones. So it would have been really hard to catch him by himself or just low-key kicking it and letting his guard down. And this was one of those days where he just so happened to truly have let his guard down, and they felt this was the perfect opportunity, and they wouldn't have gotten an opportunity like this again. So it was now or never for them, okay? And also, he's making me feel like he's saying that the reason why this person wanted to take him out is crazy, okay? He's saying that he was basically taken out because of money. This has everything to do with finances, you guys. Someone helped him and helped to invest in someone invested into his All Money In company. So someone was investing into his businesses and into things that he was doing, and they were having some money disputes and disagreements. There was just a number of things going on in the background, and this person felt like he wasn't getting his due just. He felt like Nip had kind of forgotten about him. And so he made the decision that he was going to take this man out. Okay. And I feel like this person was very close to him and still is close to the family. So whoever this person is, it had a lot to do with jealousy. It had a lot to do with feeling like they felt like they were supposed to be his equal and they were treated more as a worker. This is a jealousy situation. And also Lauren is getting inside information as well. She's getting inside information about what really happened and why. And she's begun distancing herself from a lot of people, a lot of close friends, a lot of people in his circle that she just does not trust, because Lauren is very intuitive as well. And she deals with energy. So if she's not feeling your energy, if she feels like something is off or something is wrong, she will quickly distance herself or cut you off. So I feel like she's begun to distance herself from a lot of people that Nip associated himself with. And the only people that she is really dealing with is like really, really, really extremely close family and friends right now. She's very cautious about who she deals with and who she tells things to. She was already a very private person, but she also has realized that this that happened was an inside job, okay? So she has come to the realization that this was an inside job and she needs to be super careful about her circle. I think I'm going to end it here, you guys, and I'm going to go ahead and do part 2 and post it. So you guys, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to continue with my part 2, and I'll see you guys at the second video. All right? Okay.